Hi everyone, in today's video I'm going to be showing you my Isamaya Core 2.0 palette. Now this was something that I was not going to buy. I was put off by the kidney shape, really, for want of a better word, because I did kind of feel I would be like an extra in CSI, having something removed from an embarrassing orifice and it kind of sort of plops into the kidney dish dramatically. But also there's a storage issue, isn't there? Because, you know, it won't sort of line up with all my other rectangular palettes, and it won't fit in where I put my square and my sort of more roundy palettes. So there was that as well that I found annoying. But then I saw Isamaya herself on social media showing us some looks, and while those looks wouldn't necessarily be something that I would do on myself, I was intrigued by the formula and by some of the shades, which is why I went for this one as opposed to the 1.0, which for me seemed a bit darker, a bit warmer, a bit more greeny. I quite kind of like this slightly more cool colour story, but I may be wrong because so many of these shades are shifty, as we will see coming up. So if that sounds like something that you're interested in, then please watch on. The palette has got the whole fingerprinty thing going on, which I find annoying, but I won't go on about it. And then when you open it, of course, the mirror is similarly shaped as a kidney, and then you've got the shades here. Now, I do still find this confusing, and I have looked at this palette a lot, in that it does feel kind of counterintuitive in a way. It takes me a long time to decide which sort of 2 or 3 shades I want to kind of focus on for any given look, because I kind of don't know where to look, if you know what I mean. I don't know whether I'm alone in that. Let me know in the comments down below if you think that as well. So in a way that also put me off. It was the shape, but also the shape of the actual, you know, the actual shades themselves. Isamaya as a brand kind of put me off with the phallus lipsticks, which, you know, I had a look on the website and I couldn't find them, so presumably they've been discontinued, but it did put me off. I found them a bit trying too hard, and, you know, I think we can all be smutty by ourselves. I don't really feel I need my makeup, you know, trying quite that hard. So that really put me off, and I found it annoying. A bit the way, as I've said before, a bit like the way that I find, you know, some of the NARS shade names annoying as well. So yeah, didn't need any of that. So I don't know. Now she's kind of moved on to inner organs, or has she? But, you know, that's kind of where I'm at. However, some of these shades are cracking. Take a look. I'm going to bring you close up. Take a look at what's on my eyes and see if you find it sort of maybe vaguely interesting. I actually like this look. I'm sort of surprised that it's not as metallic as I thought. I thought it was going to be off-puttingly metallic. In other words, only really for the evenings or for a special occasion. But actually, while it is a bit more extra, it is a bit more out there. It's not, you know, there's more disco shades that I've used from Charlotte Tilbury. So I did kind of feel this was a little bit more usable than I thought it might be. The shades that I've used I will show you now on the swatches, but obviously I will do 2 more looks for you. But I did kind of want to show you from the outset, almost like a kind of spoiler alert, that while these do look very, very bright, and of course they are shifty and they are, you know, highly pigmented and, you know, I was going to say magnetic, but metallic, they don't have to be the full-on kind of pizzazz, razzmatazz look. So let me show you the swatches and see what you think. Isamaya has told us that even though the shapes of all the shades are different to accommodate the shape of the palette itself, she has made the depths different. So actually the volume of shades that we get, or the volume of product rather that we get, is exactly the same. So I just kind of wanted to make that clear, otherwise it does seem a bit, you know, it's a bit confusing. So we've got the first 6 shades here. Now this is Sulphur over here, and here, this is lovely. Look at this soft aqua shade that's got a slight goldy shift to it. So this one's called Sodium, and then we've got Galvanized, and then we have Cobalt, and then Ore, and then over here we have Carbon. Now Carbon I believe to be the only matte, and even then it's not quite matte, it's more of a satin, but still relatively more of a matte shade. Then it's actually the only matte shade I believe in the whole of the palette. Now I have used it today on the eye look, the eye look that you saw first off, which I will show you just in the crease. But that is a very useful shade. When I first looked at this, I honestly thought they were all metallics, but no, I was wrong. So that is the first 6. Now I'm going to show you these shades here. So basically from here through the middle, so these sort of middle shades. So here, going from this side, we have got alloy, we've got oxide, corrosion, lead, and mercury. Can you see that? I mean, it's really a mirror shine, particularly in this one here, which shifts from blue to, I don't know whether you can see the purple. Yeah, it goes from purple to quite a very bright sort of saturated aquamarine. It's extraordinary, really. And this one I think is much more of a topper shade, but I've not tried it yet. That's alloy. And now the final three colours are here at the bottom. So we have patina, which is this one here. Look at that sheen. And then we've got refraction, and then I'm assuming it's polish, not polish. So let's call it polish. And that's the whole colour story. Now, on my eyes, I have refraction, which is this. Can you see the shift? And then I also have cobalt, which is pretty much a matte shade, just in the crease. And then for kicks and giggles, I put a little bit of the mercury, which one is it? It's this one here, in the inner corner. And actually it blended really, really nicely with refraction over here. And the three shades that I used just blended together really easily and really nicely, actually. But let's take a closer look at some of the other shades. I want to do a sort of a pinkish look and then one of the goldy looks as well. And let's see if it's going to be, you know, full on disco, which is kind of special occasion wear maybe, well it is for me, or can they be used for other occasions that are less, you know, feather boa friendly, I would say. But you can see the metallic quality to them. Now I should say that Isamaya herself, she says she has included luminous crystalline pigments that shift and shine at every angle to create subtle moments and full impact looks out of these 14 shades. Let's take a closer look together. Now for the first look, I'm going to use a little bit of the carbon. I had to look down because it comes with this little map of what all the shades are. And again, I am struggling with the shape. I am. I like circles, squares, rectangles very occasionally if it's Charlotte Tilbury and, you know, I kind of feel she's worth it. But generally, I'm a very simple person and this is just a little bit too complicated. It's a bit like if a friend said to me, let's go for a walk, and it was actually you ended up going for a walk in a maze. So I don't need the stress. I just want to walk. And in this case, I just want to enjoy putting my makeup on. With you in this case, but I don't feel I need to pass some kind of test. But anyway, that's probably a me problem, not a you problem. But I also wonder whether people are kind of put off by the shape. I do wonder about that, at any rate. So I'm just putting this in the corner. I must be honest, at the ready, I had my little Natasha Denona, because it's all mattes, thinking it'll probably need a bit of a, you know, a matte accompaniment, as it were. But with this shade, hopefully with this one look, it won't need it. We'll see if it needs it for the other one as well. I'm going to use my finger and I'm going to go into this lovely pink over here. And that is called galvanized. Let's see how bright. Oh, it is rather bright. And I think I've got some, I've already made a mess. Anyway, this is real life. Just to remind you, I'm not a professional. Do you know what I mean? Maybe I felt that you needed reminding. I don't think you need reminding. Anyway, okay, so I'm just using my finger. I'm sure I could have used my brush, but actually, I think, even though I'm not a finger person, this may be the best thing to do. Maybe. I am going to have to do a little bit of a clean up because, yeah. But it's a very nice shade. It's not a Barbie pink, but it is a kind of, is it a Barbie pink? No, it's not a Barbie pink. It's got a little bit of blue in there, I feel, to soften it. Yeah. What do you think? I will go in with a clean brush. Will I? Yes, I will. Yeah, let's go in with the Refero 2 and put some more on. Now, these can be used wet or dry. And I should say, I've written it down here, they've got a 12-month shelf life. They are made in Korea and you get 16.8 grams of product. This particular palette is a complete repeat of the 1.0 incarnation of the Core palette, but updated and revived, but the shades are the same. Whereas in the other palette, I think that, yes, there are 10 shades that are the same, and then there are 4 new ones. But as I said, I was not really aware of the other palettes, apart from having watched a really good review by the lovely Alicia Archer, probably 2 years ago, maybe more. I do need to look it up again. And that kind of piqued my interest. It didn't pique my interest enough, I have to say, to go and buy it, but I don't remember what else was going on. Who knows? But I do remember kind of seeing it on her, same skin tone as her, and thinking, oh, that does look particularly lovely. I mean, she does have a talent, doesn't she, for making everything look absolutely gorgeous. But certainly in this case, it looked particularly gorgeous, you know, to my eyes. But as I said, it was the penis conundrum. It really was that kind of put me off. But I think I probably got over it. Although I am seeing this shape now not as a kidney and as a slightly more risque shape. And I do wonder whether the person who designed this kind of thought, okay, I can't get away with those lipsticks, but I'm still going to give you the, you know, suggestive curve. I don't know. Okay, we're going to blend a little bit more of the cobalt, and then we'll see what that looks like together. I'm just putting a little bit of the cobalt, which is this lovely slightly shifty, there you go, slightly, not metallic, it's not shifty, sorry, it's metallic, lilac-y blue, just on the outer corner. Let's see how it blends. I mean, it is going on top of the cobalt, but I can blend that on top, and let's see. Now there's also this topper shade, which I thought I'd put on top of the galvanized, the pink. But let's see how this looks with the blue. Yeah, that's rather nice. What I'll do is with my finger, I will put a little bit of this alloy, which is this one here, which is the topper. I think it's a topper. Yeah, okay. Oh, that's nice. Oh, good, we get a sort of mirror effect. So I suppose the truth is that adding it now, yes, of course, it's, you know, what I do like to think of as feather boa territory, but if I hadn't added it, and as it was before, it was a fairly soft, pinky, lavendery look, but now, of course, it's elevated it. We are going into a different dimension, which I actually quite like. Now, I do want to put something underneath. I've put a little bit of the carbon underneath, but let's see if we can put more of the cobalt. That may not show up, but it may actually just soften it. Yeah, it does, it softens it, that's nice. And then once we've got this black mascara on, it's gonna look, hopefully, the full ticket. What do you think? I mean, look, this is £95, I think, let me see. It's £95. It's definitely at the higher end, given that, with the exception of the carbon, you're not getting any mattes. So it's not really the complete, you know, it's not a complete palette in that way. And I would imagine, and I can say, I'm speaking for myself, it's only good value if I use all of it, really, at this price. So, but so far so good. The question is, would I use it more than my other bright, pizzazzy kind of palettes? Not least the Byredo, and I'll do a couple of swatches later on to see what the crossover is with the Byredo metallics. It's obviously a mix, but okay, so that's softened underneath, but it's you're definitely getting that bluey pinky look as opposed to taupey blending in quite nicely with the cooler shades. That's what that looks like. I don't want to put anything on the brow, but I might put a little bit just right underneath. Okay, I'd like to do the goldy look now, but I do need something that's going to root it, and I'm going to have to use the carbon again. Now, I think in real life, if I wasn't just showing you this, I would actually be using this, just because I kind of know my way around this palette. I know it sounds silly, but it's only 5, and so I kind of know my way around it. In a way, the carbon is kind of a little, I think, a little bit harder to blend. So far, everything has blended in nicely, but the carbon isn't kind of, for me anyway, an ideal crease shade. It's really not. So I'm kind of talking myself out of it. I'm going to use it anyway because I want to show it to you. But I think the reality is that in my real, you know, if I was doing this again tomorrow, which I probably will be, on my own, I'd be using these 2 shades in the crease. So, you know, I'm just telling you truthfully that while you do get this, you do have this deeper shade as a crease shade, and to be honest with you, it may be too dark for you. That's the other thing. As it happens, I've got quite dark skin around my eyes, so it's okay. It's probably not ideal, because I don't like the crease shade to be quite so pronounced. I think it can make me look a bit hollow-eyed and as if I haven't had enough sleep. So, you know, that's not necessarily a good look for me. Now, the way clearly Isamaya wants us to use this palette is to really go for it and just use only what's in the palette. But for me, in real life, it's just too much. I like something that's either going to have a bit of metallic with a one and done and something, as I said, in the crease like the Natasha Denona, or, you know, go full out, but still, you know, I still need some matte shades in there. And I think that's probably not an uncommon way of thinking if we're actually going to use the palette and not just kind of save it for special occasions, because for £95, you know, you want to be able to get the use out of it. And I really don't think already this is for everybody by any means. You know, I really like shimmer, as you know, and it's still quite a lot of shimmer for me, whereas the Byredo, which we've talked about, you know, before, the Bibliophilia, there's quite a lot of mattes there, and a lot of creamy mattes that kind of mean that you've got that versatility. You don't really have the versatility you've got here, clearly, as we can see, is in the shades. Some of the shades really are terrific. But do let me know if you have used the previous incarnations of these palettes and what you thought. I don't really know why somebody would buy the new one compared to when you've already got the one that was sort of 2 or 3 years ago. So do let me know in the comments down below. I really would like to know, especially given that this palette, the shades are the same. I understand the formulas are different, but the shades are the same. And in fact, if you have got it, what do you think? If it's your first foray into Isamaya, as this is for me, or indeed if you can compare it with your other purchases, you know, from the brand. Now, here are the shades. That's the goldy shade there called Alloy, and then we've got Oxide here. So I've actually got them on my hand. So this is Alloy underneath, and above, can you see it sort of shifts to a bluey green shade. I'll tell you what it reminds me of. Actually I've got it here. It reminds me of I keep everything in the box. My I Need a Nude Phenomena. That's the shade that I use that a lot. It's this one here. Let's compare it. Seeing as I've got it here. Oh, it's different. That's Philomena. I mean, it is different, but it's very much the same feel. Although I have to say, immediately swatching it with my finger, the creaminess of the Natasha Denona is, I was going to say streets ahead. It's not streets ahead. It's definitely creamier than this formula. Definitely. This is a shade that I wear a lot on its own, but you can see it's, as the light hits it, depending on how the light hits it, they're not dissimilar. So if you've got I Need a Warm, that's a similar shade. I won't say it's the same. And obviously, just, you know, I know you know this, I'm just pointing it out, completely different. Yeah, there's no similarity. It's just that shade really reminded me. As it happens, I've got it there. Okay, I'll put Oxide on the lid, and then we'll put the very goldy on the inside, on the inner corner, I should say. So I'm going to try it with a brush. It may not work, and maybe I should just use my finger. Oh, it does work. Gosh, this is, what is this? This is a Refero one. I was going to go down the synthetic route, but actually, these are doing a very nice job. That was easy, wasn't it? Let me show you. That was very easy. Okay. Not much for me to do there. That's sort of quite handy to know that you can just pop this on. Yeah. Let's try putting it, let's see what the difference is, because right. Okay, so that's with a brush, and next to it is with a finger. So finger and then brush. So it is more diffuse. I actually do like this. I won't go on with my finger because I don't want it to be quite so goldy. I mean, not goldy, but just quite so much. And now with my trusty Refer 21, I can never remember the number. Let's go into the Alloy and put that gold in the corner and see what happens. Oh, that's nice. That's very nice, I think. So these two blend very, very nicely. Very nicely. What I'll do is I'm going to put a little bit of lead, which is in the middle here, and I'll show you what this looks like. It looks like that. I'm going to put that underneath, and let's see what happens. I would say that in terms of the quality, it's a very nice quality. So far, it's a very nice blendable quality and texture. Am I blown away? I'm not blown away. But this is coming hot on the heels of the Byredo, and that for me, the texture and that formula is so creamy that it's kind of raised the bar, really. And yeah, big shoes to fill. And I don't think, well, I know I'm not getting the same wow factor from the formula in this as I did in the Byredo. However, I'm really enjoying the shades, but it's not the same quality, I would say. Okay, so I can put a bit of extra underneath my eyes because my eczema has gone, I think. Okay, so that's what we've got. I kind of feel I want to give it a bit more. So what I'll do is I will, with the same shade that I've put underneath my eye, I will put a little bit more depth here. I'm not getting fallout particularly, just a couple of specks, but I'm not, so that's good. It's just that I wouldn't say the formula is, you know, blowing me away. And it's quite a good comparison with the Byredo from a cost point of view because they're similar price points, i.e., you know, quite hefty. And as I keep saying, the key thing is you're not getting any mattes. So, and it's 18 shades, plays 14. Yeah, I had to think there, sorry. Okay, so I'll put a little bit more there. Now, what I'm going to do is I am going to take a very little thin brush and let's decide what I'll put on the brow of each one. So I rather feel that I would like to put a little bit of this shade, which is Mercury, again, which is actually what I used in the crease in the first look at the opening of this video. Let's try a little bit of that. You've got to be careful with this. I should tell you, can you see it's sort of, it's quite crumbly and soft. So if you're a bit overzealous, or even not actually, I wasn't really overzealous. I'm the first to admit when I have. You do get this kind of, it feels like a snow footprint. It's very like, the texture is kind of like freshly fallen snow, and then, you know, you get that lovely little crunch. It's got that quality, so you've kind of got to be mindful of that, I think. I'll just put a little bit of this on the top. I don't want to put too much, and actually my eyebrows do need redoing, so what I might do is I'll do the eyebrows off camera and then come back and we'll put it at the top, because I realise that having taken off my makeup from the previous look so I can do this, I've taken off some of my eyebrow pencil. I'll be back. Okay, I've touched up the rest of my makeup, put some concealer on and some mascara. I did get a bit carried away off camera, and what I did is I put this one, which is, if you look at my map, this one's called Mercury. I put that a little bit here on the brow bone, and then I put this one, which is Alloy. No, is it Alloy? Oh gosh, this is very frustrating because it's not a proper shape. It is Alloy there on the brow bone here. So let me bring you closer to have a look, and then we'll do a quick cheeky comparison with a Byredo, because I think it does bear comparison. So here we go. Don't know, what do you think? Of the two looks, I just prefer the Goldie look, which kind of surprises me because I also do like sort of pinky lilac shades as well, but I feel it's kind of a more successful tone on me. They do blend very well. I don't have any complaints. I think what it is this formula is not a Natasha Denona formula. It's not the Byredo formula, which, as you know, I'm a new convert to. And I do think it bears comparison with the Byredo simply because I don't think this is limited edition. I don't think. But I do know that they sell out quite quickly, but I don't think it is. Whereas the Byredo is, and in a way the heat's on, isn't it? Because if you want it or you're umming and eyeing, it's important because you've got to kind of take a decision quite quickly. I hate having to do that. But anyway, let me please show you the two together. Okay, so really very different, but those three shades at the top of the Byredo that you can see, those kind of reddish shades, the carmine shades, the question is, how similar are they to the one shade in the Isamaya, which is called Ore, to the extent that you're interested in the name, so let me put quite a bit on so you can see it. So it is a very nice shade, and let's compare it to these 3 in the Byredo. This is Isamaya and the other 3 are from the Byredo. They're not the same, but they are in a similar kind of wheelhouse. It depends how much you think you're going to wear these shades, because of course with the Byredo, lots of people have been put off by the warmer side of the palette, because it is warm. I mean, it is, it's not just slightly warm. However, as I keep saying, what the Byredo does give you is mattes. Lots and lots of creamy mattes and a fantastic formula. I'm not saying this is either or, you know, you don't have to buy anything, and there's lots of other stuff coming out and all of that. But I do feel that the Isamaya is that how you pronounce it? Is limited in that way because they are all metallics. And if you're not a huge metallic user, or you prefer to have a metallic in it, you've got sort of favourite shades, 1 or 2 favourite shades, then you don't need the other 12, do you? Even though, as I have said before, the carbon is as near as damn it as you're going to get to a sort of a matte. It's more satin, and it is, just to remind you, I'm running out of fingers here, that's the colour of it. It is very dark. So it's lovely, it would be lovely as a liner, for example, but it won't be for everybody in the crease. So I suppose that's kind of my main caveat. It's actually the shades, not whether I like the shades or not, but whether it's going to be usable for you. That's really the thing that I've kind of noticed with this palette. At first, honestly, I thought, well, that's okay. If there's no mattes, I've got my Natasha Denona. This goes with me everywhere. That's absolutely fine. But actually, it is limiting, isn't it, for this kind of price point? And honestly, sitting here with you, I've now done 3 different eye looks, 1 off camera for the beginning of this video, and then these 2. I find this annoying. I do. I can't find my way around the palette. I'm not saying I'm not going to learn it. It's just, it seems like it's a little bit more effort than it needs to be. To make what? A point about what? I'm not entirely sure. As I said, it is quite possible that the lipstick person who designed the lipstick is also thinking, well, actually, maybe I can still get some kind of, you know, cheeky shape out of this. I'm not sure I appreciate it. I find it annoying, and it's going to be annoying in the drawers, which I always knew it would be. I kind of thought, let me try it, because I thought if I'm thinking that, maybe it would be useful to film my experience with it, and maybe it might be of help to you. Because actually, equally, it could have been that I ended up saying, actually, it is worth it, because, you know, the shades are really worth it, or the formula's really worth it. I think it's a lot of money for this formula, and I think it's a lot of money for the colour story. I haven't used all the shades. I did actually draw out the little kidney shape and wrote out all the shades in my handwriting, and I've crossed out the shades that I've used, and I am still left with 4 or 5 shades that I haven't used. So I will do a couple of shorts to show you. I do want to say, surprisingly, there are a couple of one and done shades. This shade I think is lovely. This is Lead. That could be a very nice one and done shade there. And then the other one is Refraction, which is the one that I used at the beginning, but you could just have that on its own on your eyelids and get that lovely little shift if you wanted to. But as a sort of a no sweat one and done, like first thing in the morning, you're rushing out, you want to put something on there, then Lead would be, you know, one of your friends. There is another shade here as well, which is Sodium. And that would be a good one and done shade, maybe if you are a cooler skin tone. That's got a very slight shift to it, but that wouldn't be hard to kind of just put on your lid and out the door. Yeah, so it really is those 2 shades, but it's an awful lot of money to pay for one and dones that are metallic, because very often with a one and done, people don't actually want a metallic. That's been kind of my experience over time, and you know, over years, as well as in the comments since the inception of this channel. We kind of want something really easy, and a metallic's not always classed as really easy. So that's another thing. So I suppose to that end, you know, should you buy it, it's up to you. Have I regretted buying it? I haven't regretted buying it because I wouldn't have known unless I'd kind of travelled this journey with you. But here's the thing, normally at this stage, when I've really enjoyed something, I'm kind of looking for something else within the brand to buy, or within that range, within the eyeshadow palette range, for example, or within the lipstick range. And actually, even though I know that there's a ready and willing other palette, I am not tempted to buy the other palette at all. I think I'll get some use out of this. I don't know. I will play with it more, but it doesn't feel at the moment like something that I will overtly be reaching for. There are a couple of winning shades for me. These two I do really like, these two shades. And this goldy shade, the two shades that I used, which was sulfur and oxide, they're, you know, I really like these shades, but do I like them more than I like the, whatever it's called, I can never remember, it's Phenomena in the I Need a Warm, and you can see how much I've used it, you know. I don't think I do, and I probably, you know, I use the rest of this palette, even though it's not one of my top favourite Natasha Denona palettes, I will still use the mattes in this, whereas this one, it's harder to take away with me as well. So, you know, I think that's an important point to factor in as well. There's also, back to the kidney shape, you know, the mirror is this kind of funny shape, and it's not that great a quality a mirror. Now, I don't normally use mirrors, but I did notice with this, there's a slight distortion. It's not a great quality mirror. Whereas I know even with a Byredo, never mind the Natasha Denona, they're all good quality mirrors. That the Hourglass palettes are good quality mirrors that you can really, you know, you can really use. This isn't great. It's still got that feel that in a way I would expect this to be made of kind of more of a cardboard finish. Nothing wrong with that if we're not paying these kind of prices. And I think at this price I would want a better mirror, frankly, and kind of less stress. So yeah, I don't want to moan, but I do think it's important that you know, because £95 is an awful lot of money. It really is. Even in the times that we're living in and things are going up and so on, this is not the complete deal. Whereas the Byredo, other Natasha Denonas or whatever, lots of other palettes for that, around that kind of money, you get, you know, you get the full experience without having to supplement with another palette. So that's basically my thought. I don't know, let me know what you think. I am so interested. If you haven't already, please subscribe and give me a thumbs up, and I'll see you in the comments down below with enormous interest. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.